Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Skippers, the art teacher at Hutchings Elementary. I've got this fun hot air balloon scene that I'm hoping that you'll give a try with me. I wanted to do a quick demonstration of how I drew this. Before we get started, I wanted to point out a couple things that I think are kind of neat about this. One is the perspective of this. It kind of makes it look like you're viewing this from up high, maybe from a building or from another hot air balloon, as well as the different size balloons that really make it look like there's some distance or space in between all of these different balloons that are up in the sky. So to get started, I'd like you to go ahead and fold your paper in both directions, both vertically and horizontally. If you divide it in half, this is going to give you some little kind of invisible fold lines that will be kind of nice reference points as we're placing some of our details. We're going to start with this, the closest balloon here, the largest one that we only see part of, and we're going to start by going up to the middle point at the top of your paper. We're going to keep it really round and bring kind of just a nice curve and straighten it out just below the halfway fold line. So we're going to start round and start angling that in a little bit below our fold. That really gives it a nice round look here, okay? I'm going to come back up here to the top. I'm going to find the middle point here of this top section, and I'm going to add another curve just like the first one that I drew, and I'm going to let this one kind of come over along the edge and stop, and then I'm going to close that off with a straight line across. I'm going to give it a little bit of space here and draw just part of a square or a rectangle that might look like the basket that's hanging underneath of my balloon. And then I need to go back in and I'm going to add a couple little diagonal lines. This is going to help make my basket look three-dimensional by angling this up in each corner, and then I'll go back and put a line across the top and along the sides. Now I've got kind of this basket shape, and then I can add my lines to make it look like I've got some ropes where it's attached then to my balloon. All right, I'm going to come over and draw my next balloon that's still pretty good size, and this is going to go right in the middle of this space right in here. So to get started, I'm going to make my curve and let this come down. This reminds me a lot of like the shape of an upside down raindrop maybe, except it has a flat bottom instead of a point on it, okay? So I'm going to divide this in half right down the middle, and in each of these two sections I'm going to add another curved line. 1, 2, go back up to the top again, 1 and 2, and that gives me kind of my puffy shapes of my balloon to make it look like it's filled with air. I'm going to drop a little bit to draw my basket, and then don't forget to add those rope lines. And then decide where you want to place some of these other ones. Each time I draw a balloon, I'm going to make it look a little bit smaller. I'm going to go ahead and put one up here. And on this one, as I draw a little bit smaller, instead of filling it with the 6 sections I did on my balloon down in the middle, this one is only going to have 5 sections. So after I close that off, I'm just going to add 2 curves on each side, and that will give me a curved shape in the middle. So now I've got 5 sections on this balloon. Give my basket and my rope lines, and then I'm ready to keep filling in. I'm going to go a little bit smaller. This one is going to be kind of tucked in almost in this corner here, and I'm not even going to draw the whole thing. I think it looks kind of cool to make it look like maybe my balloon, my big balloon here is passing in front of or the smaller one, or the smaller one is moving behind it. And this one I'm going to divide in half. Each time I do these, I'm going to add one less section to help kind of fill in my space since it's getting smaller. This one only has 4 sections. I'll put my basket beneath, and then my rope lines. And I'm going to add one more smaller one back here. It's going to be kind of tucked up here in this upper corner. This one has to be pretty small, so I'm only going to put 3 sections on this one because it's going to be kind of a tight squeeze since it's such a little guy. And I'll just put 3 sections on that one and my basket. So I've got my sky pretty well filled with a variety of sizes, which I think looks awesome. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to add some details to the ground. I'm going to give myself a couple of inches, maybe 3 finger widths high or so, and I'm going to draw my horizon line. This is where the ground and the sky meet. So this is gonna make the ground section where I'm gonna add some trees. I'm gonna come all the way across here and just do some squiggly lines to imply there's a bunch of trees that maybe line this big field, kind of change up how tall some of them are, some are shorter, but it just gives this implied tree line. I thought it would be kind of interesting to make it look like this maybe is a big, field or park or something that's on the edge of a city. So you can have some fun adding some buildings of different heights and widths and sizes, maybe a few different types of rooftops on them, but I thought it looked kind of cool to have something beyond these tree lines, because typically from that height of where you're looking at these balloons, you would be able to see far beyond just a few trees. Off in the distance, you, I'm sure, would see a little bit more going on. So it's kind of fun to add some rectangles and some interesting detailed tops to these buildings to imply that there's kind of a city street there. All right, I'm almost done here, so I'm just gonna come down to the bottom. Because I wanted to make it look like I was looking at the scene from high up, I'm just gonna add a few tree tops. Instead of the whole tree, I'm just gonna add the tops of the trees by just giving those squiggly leaf lines and filling it in with just what I might see if my balloon was flying up over each of these trees. So I just have a little bit of those tree tops showing, and that's pretty much it. So I hope you'll give it a try and have some fun. Good luck.